guys, welcome back. It's the Witch from The Witch and the Raven. It's been a hot second since either of us have made a video, but especially me. Some of our viewers might remember back way a couple months ago, I was pregnant. Everything went well. I had a beautiful baby girl. She's awesome, and that's been keeping us busy. So now that she's just a little bit older and she sleeps for longer, I have a minute to sit and make a video. So we found this game called The Forest, which is a horror survival game. It's actually really cool and interesting. I like to call it grown-up horror Minecraft. So what we're going to do is, just since this is my first video in a while, we're going to get to know each other again. I'm going to go ahead and play this in peaceful mode. There are 4 modes. Now basically the premise of this game, as we will discover, is you are surviving after a plane crash, after a weird person kidnaps your son, and there is lots of twists and turns. It has a really great plot twist at the end, and the creatures are absolutely terrifying. So normal, of course, you have your enemies in the world. It's harder to survive and hard. I mean, this is obviously the worst type of the game is the hard survival. And peaceful, there are no enemies in the world, which are cannibals, zombie babies, mutants, things like that. So just until we get our feet under us again, we're going to go ahead and play peaceful this time. So this is a very interesting game, and I gotta say, the first time I played it, I didn't watch any of the videos, I didn't read any of the reviews for it. I was like, oh look, it's a survival game, and we bought it and downloaded it. I went straight into just normal survival, and promptly had a panic attack, and like cried, and did not sleep for the rest of the night, because I did not realize there were enemies in the world. So peaceful is much more fun for me at the moment, especially since it's nighttime and I don't want to scream and wake up the baby. So here we are. It looks like we are on a plane. We've got little boy sleeping next to us. We're going to hit X here and pick up this book, which is a survival guide, it looks like.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now crossing a zone of turbulence. Please return to your seats and keep your seatbelts fastened.
And that's just not good. Everyone's not over. By the way, nobody else is recording using the capture video, and that boy has just like went through the feedback, so you would probably be dead anyway, just saying. But somehow we survived. We're covered in blood. Oh, look, there's our son, and there is creepy man covered in blood, or without skin, not really sure. Alright, so now we're awake again, and that's really sad. We woke up on top of our son's drawings. Cool, so we're covered in blood. Back half the plane seems to be intact here. And somehow there's just this perfectly, like, untouched tray of food. So we're gonna eat that. We're gonna walk around here. Looks like we just collected some soda. There's some more. There's medication we can take. Alcohol in the bathroom. More alcohol. More food. And then this is a passenger manifest. So one of the goals of the game is to find all the passengers, find out what happened to them. You know, this probably does not come as a surprise to you. They're dead. So, you know, it's not like you're gonna find other survivors and survive with them. And this woman just has an axe in her. That's fun. Okay, so here we are. Luggage strewn everywhere. Let's get this going. So mostly you collect things, and X is your main action button in this game. You break laptops to get their circuit boards, which you can make for, you can use for bombs. There's lots of wildlife, so there's a lot of hunting and fishing that you will be doing. And you can see this little lock above this suitcase, so we're going to hit that. And then we've got some duct tape, some cloth. You find all sorts of useful stuff. Arrows for bows and arrows. Sometimes you can find changes of clothes, which are really cool. I found those a couple of times. These skinny trees give you leaves and sticks, which you need to make things like spears. Cash, of course, is great for fire starting, which is a real life tip too. If you've got cash in your wallet and you are stranded in a survival situation, go ahead and burn that money. It does not matter. Okay, so now it tells us that there are new items available to craft, so we're going to just go ahead and tap up on that D-pad. And so this is your index. It's a survival book that your son has, and it gives you a tutorial for the basics of survival. These are all the different things that you can craft. You have a to-do list, your stats, your nature guide. So if we look at our to-do list, we've got to find Timmy, who is your son. We've got to set up a camp and find the missing plane passengers. That's what we have to do now. So I'm just going to run around and crack open a couple more of these suitcases, grab some more materials, see what we can get going for us here. And there's also like coins that you can pick up around ground. You might be thinking, why do you need coins in a survival situation? Well, they make really great shrapnel. So they actually are fairly useful. More meds, more cloth. And it's not like you have an unlimited amount that you can pick up. So what we're going to do is, this is our crafting mat in our inventory. This shows us everything we have. And so what I'm going to do real quick is, I'm just going to make a spear, which is just a couple of sticks. And so what you would do is, let's say you just put one there, and you're not sure what you can make, you can hover over this, and there's lots of stuff you can make. So we can make slingshots, bows, axes, all kinds of stuff. I'm actually going to go ahead and make a slingshot because it's dead useful. And then we're also going to go ahead and make a bow, for which we need rope. So get ourselves some rope. What else do we need? And some cloth. Voila, we got ourselves a bow now. Once we collect some feathers, we can get that going. So I'm just gonna practice with this a little. Okay, so I don't have any rocks, that's the problem here. But I was able to collect a feather. I think you need 5 of them. So we're gonna look around for some small rocks. Keep collecting stuff. Yeah, that's just not gonna work. Okay, so we're gonna drink some water, because hydration is important. And right there you can see that he like jerked back after he drank water. That's because it isn't pure. And I think these suitcases are just a lost cause. Let me see if I can push them out, maybe. Yeah, there we go. So we got some food, some batteries. More batteries. And let's go ahead and make a spear real quick. understand how there's like this little pond and there's like sea fish in it, but we're not gonna question it, you know, it's weird island, we're just gonna roll with it. Alright, so we got some fish, they're all raw. We are going to have to spend some time cooking them, so I'm gonna collect some leaves. Collect some leaves, some sticks, go ahead and grab that axe so I can chop some stuff down. And again, we're on peaceful, so pretty much you're just surviving right now. It's not really a super big deal. If you don't have shelter the first night, it does get very creepy and dark, but I promise you, you will survive. And in the normal game, when you're playing with, you know, bad guys around, I recommend running as far away from this as possible, because big plane wreck is going to cause lots of curiosity, and the first time I played it, I just made a camp like right in here with all the stuff, and then promptly woke up to like being surrounded by 15 cannibals, and I went, oh, that's lovely, and then just was killed. So we're just gonna meander on this way. Can't pick up any more rocks, that's a bummer. And you will find that there are suitcases, like, just scattered around the island. I mean, everything was thrown really, really far from this wreck. Yeah, so already we can't pick up any more meds. So we can just leave those there, they don't despawn or anything. Alright, so we have some small rocks now for our slingshot, that's great. See if I can grab us some more sticks, because we used quite a few. Alright. Now the plane wreck is roughly there, so we're gonna just walk in the other direction. Cutting stuff down, picking leaves as we go. You are on an island, so you can't really like just keep going and reach mainland and survive. Ooh, okay, so we've got mushrooms here. I believe these ones are edible, so let's find out. No, those ones are poisonous. So now we know. And eventually you are able to collect the mushrooms. Poisonous or not, you just need a couple of rabbit skins to make a pouch. So we'll get there eventually. Looks like we've got a nice open area here. What's over here? Oh yeah, there we go. We got a nice little lake. We got some rope. More rope. That's excellent. And even more rope. Awesome. So typically what I recommend when you start playing this game, if you're playing with enemies, is that you make a treehouse. It takes a little bit of work, so you need a temporary shelter for a couple nights, but I think it's just much, much safer than trying to stay on the ground, especially with all the cannibals about. Because if you have anything that isn't a large cabin, you can't lock the door. Which might not sound like a big deal, but when you have cannibals running around, you kind of want a door lock. That seems just mildly important. Alright, so we got some berries here. I think these are poisonous. Let's find out. Yeah, those are poisonous. Anytime he makes that noise, it's something that you should not be eating. And you do take a little bit of damage, but it's usually not too much. I believe on the higher settings it is a lot more, so that's just something to keep in mind. This is one of the cannibal villages. You kind of start to get an idea of what happened to your fellow playmates, or at least what you assume happened to your fellow playmates. Grab some snacks. Snacks always save your skin. I always grab those. We've got some cloth and then some body parts. So that kind of tells you what's going on here. Break down that bush, get that out of there. yeah, it's just, it's definitely a graphic game, not something I would recommend for younger players. Um, and also, if you have problems with horror, you have a very low horror tolerance, or a gore tolerance, I would recommend not playing it. Just because this game freaks me out. My husband loves horror, and it also freaks him out. Okay, cool. So we got our change of clothes. I'm gonna go ahead and swap into those. Makes you all nice and clean. So why am I wandering around this cannibal village? Because of the rope, honestly. You always need rope. So let's see what we can make with rope. You can make water skins, snowshoes, quivers, axes, warm suits, but the warm suit you can only make in games where you're actually playing with enemies because you do need predator skins. So what I'm gonna do is, just for right now, so I can pick up this extra one, I'm gonna go ahead and craft an axe. Just so we have an extra one. Your plain axe, to my knowledge, never breaks. So that's useful at least you don't end up like in a situation where you're sitting there trying to survive and all of a sudden you don't have a weapon. You can also improve your plain axe. You can set it on fire, add extra damage, all kinds of stuff. So this symbol right here is explosive. Let me see if I can get a better angle to see it. No, not really. But yeah, so this rock area you have to blow up. We will find explosives in the game. You'll find TNT and all kinds of other crazy stuff. So this is definitely something to come back to. You'll also see these. These respawn pretty much overnight. And it's a really great way to get skulls and cloth. And the reason you need skulls is you can make lamps out of them. They also become no trespassing signs. So we're just going to keep running a little bit, see what else we can find. Because we've got, yeah, so these little mushrooms are edible. And as you find plants and discover what they can do, you do write them down in your journal, which is nice. So I disturbed a bunch of birds, that's fine. So what do we got here? We got just a little rock face. You will find a bunch of caves as you walk around. So, that's good to keep an eye out for. Those caves connect pretty much the whole island. And eventually one of your goals will be to go down into the caves, and there's some stuff that you really need down there. So it's basically just survive until you can get to that point. Got some weird looking bushes that are all red. Looks like we discovered a new animal too. I'm just kind of running around trying to get a lay of the land. I think you do find a map eventually, but I have never found one. Mostly because I die and get frustrated pretty early on when I'm not in peaceful. So we'll just kind of take a gander, see where we're at. So we got some nice open boulder fields here. Let's top this hill, see what's going on. Right, that looks like a lake to me. So we're gonna head on down that way. Okay, that's not a feather, that's just a bush that looks like a feather. And every time I play this game, I discover something new. Like, I don't think I've ever been over to these boulder fields before. So that's really cool. So we've got some bunnies. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and equip my slingshot. See if I can get this guy. Where did he go? Yeah, so I got them. And eventually you are able to like catch these guys and breed them, which is very, very useful. But for right now, we just need the meat and the skin. So what do we got here? It looks like this is, yes, this is a lake. So we'll have lots of fish, that's great. But it's a little too open for my taste, so I'm gonna just walk along and, actually, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and cross this lake. I think that's gonna serve us best because there's a lot more, there's trees a lot closer on that other side. You do get wet and cold and you can die of hypothermia, so keep that in mind. Even on peaceful, you still have all the survival considerations, so fire is important. Make sure you always have enough to make a basic fire. I think it's a couple of sticks and then using some rock. You can also get tired, which is on your little, in the bottom right corner, you've got your health, your stamina, and your energy. Stamina and energy are two different things. Your energy you use for things like swimming, rope climbing, your energy is, the other one is what you would use for like breaking down trees. Alright, so water's pretty close, that's great. Because you do need a lot of water in this game. Yeah, and you've got a fairly good setup here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just come on over here and pick one of these trees, and I'm going to start building everything we need. So let's start with shelter. So like I said, you got temporary shelters, log cabins. These are really cool because you can kind of design them how you want and how big you want them. Hunting shelters, small cabins. But what I want is I want one of the fancy tree houses. Yeah, so we've got tree platforms, alpine tree houses. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a tree platform first. And then while I'm here, I'm also going to make a tree house. And I'm going to stick that one on this tree. Like so. Yeah. Okay, got it. So you have two different forms. You have one without a rope and one with a rope. So I'm going to see what I need to make a tree bridge. Oh, I have to actually build it first. Haha, okay. So we've got rope here. And you do have a lighter. So you do have a lighter. It's not super effective, but it's a lighter. And the next thing that we are going to have to build to make our lives easier is we're going to need one of these log sleds. And for the log sleds, you're going to need quite a number of sticks. So that's going to be our next goal. Hopefully there will be enough around here that we can actually make this thing. But in the meantime, while your buildings are opaque like that, it means that they can't be damaged because they haven't been built. So that's useful because now I can just kind of cut trees willy-nilly. I swear I just saw something to pick up. So since we're on peaceful, I'm just dealing with the darkness and I'm building through the night. You do get tired, you do need sleep. When you are not on peaceful, I don't recommend doing this. The cannibals love to come out at night and who knows what else. It's terrifying. There are some times you will wake up in the middle of the night because they have come near your camp. In peaceful, you can still wake up in the middle of the night, but it's just because that you're not tired anymore, not because of enemies nearby, so that's useful at least. But it did take me about 3 or 4 playthroughs before I realized that you're waking up because there's actually someone there trying to kill you, which is not a fun experience. So the moon kind of shows you where you are in the night. It will change phases during the night as kind of a progress of how late it is or how early it is. I don't know if that's the same on the game modes with enemies, just because I have never taken the time to look at the moon in those game modes, but I have spent some time on peaceful looking at them, and as far as I can tell, it's just like an indicator of how long the night is. So it just took me a second to light my lighter there, and just so you guys know, you don't need lighter fluid for your lighter. It never runs out, which is extremely useful. But especially if you've gotten wet, if you've gone swimming, sometimes it'll take you a second to get your lighter to light again. Awesome, so this is chicory, which you can use to make stews, make energy brews. It's really great stuff. You'll find lots of seeds that you can gather as you play. I know that like marigold seeds help you create a energy mixture. I believe you can plant cone flowers in your garden, and they're edible. So it takes a while. I mean, you can only carry 2 logs at a time. That's why we're trying to make that log sled. We just have run out of sticks in this general area. Every part of the island is different. Like there's a really nice area on the beach that you can go, but it's pretty exposed. It's really useful because that's how you get sea turtle shells, which is what you need to make rain catchers. So it's definitely worth it, but it's something that I think is not as much worth it, especially when you can find rabbits and you can make water swims. But it's just always useful, especially when it rains, because if you prefer an area that's up in the rocks or up higher where there's not a readily available water source, it might give you a little bit of trouble staying hydrated. You might also notice that I haven't saved yet, which is weird because if you ever watch my games, you'll notice that I'm constantly saving. That's because we don't have a shelter yet. You can only save at your shelters. And you can save anytime, day or night, but typically I like to save once per night. It does mean that if I screw up or I die, I go back to the previous time I saved. So sometimes that can be 12 hours or even more, which really, really sucks. but I feel like it just makes more sense if I treat it like a typical survival game where you can only save at night. What do we got here? So we've got another little lake here, which is cool. We're kind of surrounded by water. That helps defensively, at least. And we're pretty hungry, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here. All this stuff is raw. It's edible. It's not fresh. I need to cook it. So we're going to eat a snack for the moment, just to keep our energy up a little. And before we go any further, I don't have any sticks, so let's go ahead and try to find some of those and make us a fire so I can get cooking. You can make a fire on a retreat platform, and that's why I'm kind of taking my time and trying to get things built first. Just because it's safer, and I don't have to then move everything later. But I also don't want the food to go bad, so we will probably finish the tree house and then go ahead and build that fire. And to my knowledge, things don't burn down. I think that's a setting you can have on. I know on the PC there are lots of cheats and things you can do to help you out. You don't really get those on the PS4 unless you have the legacy version of the game, if I remember correctly, and you have a keyboard, but they've done a lot to reduce your ability to hack the game. So I went ahead and killed the bird that I just saw, even though I already have some meat, and the reason I did that is because really I want the feathers, so that I can get a bow and arrow going. I think we only got 2 from this guy. That's fine. Okay, we have a couple sticks. I'll just go ahead and move the fire this time, because we really do need to get this food cooked. And I am going to go ahead and just make us a basic fire right now. Just because we don't have a lot of sticks. You don't set the grass on fire or anything, you can drop it pretty much anywhere. You use R1 to go through your options. It's kind of hard to see what's going on. But don't walk forward into the fire. Do not make that mistake. If you walk forward into the fire, you will catch yourself on fire. If there's no water readily available, you will kill yourself. So I don't need my lighter right now. We're just going to chill here for a second. So R1 switches you through your options. You can cook your fish, your rabbit, your other meat. You can use money or leaves to keep it going. Boom. If you leave something on the fire, it does char. So I tend to just cook what I need. And then we'll be making a drying rack pretty soon, which will help us store some more of that great meat. So I'm going to run down yonder this way. Down yonder. I have no idea what I'm saying anymore. I'm just kind of here and babbling about whatever comes to my mind. So, please excuse the weird language. Alright, so it looks like we still need 21 more logs and a bunch more sticks. It looks like 4. Which doesn't sound like a lot, but in this area where it's really hard to find sticks, that can be like pulling teeth. So on a side note real quick, while we're sitting here building, since we're getting back into our video making process, we do have some more games available that we would love to hear from you guys and see what you want us to play next. Of course, we have Fallout and Skyrim like we have played before. We have Call of Duty and Battlefront 2, which you have also seen before. Brand new, we do have Destiny 2 Beyond Light. And what else have we got? We've got Dark Souls, which is fun. If you want a throwback, we've got the Spyro Reignited and the Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy. Also got Red Dead Redemption. So If there's anything in particular you guys feel like in the mood you want us to see us play, please don't say Dark Souls. Please just let us know, and we would love to make those videos for your enjoyment. I'm gonna come over here and start with fire just so it doesn't go out. If your fire goes out, it's okay. You can just reignite it with your lighter. I really like to have standing fires that I can use as kind of waypoints. And it looks like the sun is starting to come up, which is going to make our job a lot easier. Wow, this tree just does not want. There we go. Alrighty. Boom. So it looks like we need 3 more logs for just the tree house, and then we also have to make that platform. So like I said, building can take a long time. That's why I really wanted to get this log sled going. Because it just makes it easier. I think you can transport 12 logs at a time once you have it. And I'm going to go into our settings real quick and make sure that, yes, regrowing trees is on. You can allow building destruction if you want. It's something that you can just choose. I have it so my crouch and sprint are toggled just because it makes things a lot easier for me. Alright, and I have everything above bright right now. Usually my brightness should be just about here. I like to have it a little bit brighter just because I am blind. And then this is how, these are all the controls for the actual game. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and continue. Trees regrow. It takes them about 1 in-game day. So like if you sleep, they will regrow. If you don't sleep, you're not getting more trees. Get us some more sticks. Okay, there we go. So now we have all the sticks we need for our log sled. So I'm going to go back and build that before I finish the house. Ta-da! So now this is your marker. This tells you where it is. When you look around on the map, you can see these hammers. That tells you your building project's in progress. And once our house is complete, it will give us a color that we can choose for that, which makes it really easy to help you to figure out where everything is. And it's raining. Fantastic. Okay. So right now I have rocks in my inventory, so it's telling me I can use those. But it sounds like I have a crying baby. So we are going to pick this video up in the next video. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you real soon.